Hey, what's good everyone? It's Marshall Mathers the fourth here, back to you guys with another video. And in today's video, I would like to talk about what I wish people would understand about me as a person, as a guy here in America. And what I wish people would understand about me, first of all, is the fact that I know other people have it worse than me. I am well aware of that fact. I'm not stupid. I mean, I get the feeling and intention that many people who come on my channel think I'm totally oblivious and unaware to all the other suffering going on in other places and areas in the world, like third world countries where kids don't have, or anybody in those third world countries don't have running clean water to either bathe in or to shower in or to drink, and don't have clothes to wear, don't have socks and shoes, barely have that much food, and live in houses that have mud floors and either don't have roofs, or if they do, obviously the rain still gets in when it rains, and all the many diseases that are also found in third world countries that all those people get, whether they're kids, babies, teenagers, adults in those third world countries get, and how many of them die either from diseases, starving, being so dehydrated that they die, because you can only go 3 days without water before dying, and also that many of them probably freeze to death or get certain diseases, or simply they're killed by other people in those third world countries, like Muslims, for example, kill a lot of people in third world countries, especially if they're Christians. And believe it or not, if I could, I would do anything in my power and ability to help any of those people in third world countries that are suffering and that are going through such hell, emotionally, mentally, and even physically. I would do anything that I could to help them. If I had the money and if I were rich, I would totally build schools, hospitals, houses, anything that I could possibly do, restaurants or whatever. Like, I would do, honest to God, literally anything that I could. If I were a millionaire or billionaire, one or the other, there is no doubt in my mind or heart that I would help any of those people if I could. But I can't, because I don't have that kind of money. I don't have that kind of power or ability. But it's not like my heart doesn't completely go out to those people, because it does, all the way. And I feel so bad and sorry for them. And it pains me to even think about them. It crushes me. And of course, that just adds more to the suffering that I went through and I experienced and I endured in my life personally. But I will say this, that I don't think about them as much as I do myself. And why is that? Well, because first of all, I don't live in a third world country. I never have. I don't know what it's like. I've never experienced the suffering that those people have themselves. So I can't even say that I know how they feel, because I don't. I can only imagine or guess, or maybe make an assumption or something, but at the end of the day, I do not know how much they are suffering, and like how they feel emotionally, mentally, and physically. But I love them, I care about them, and I respect them. And honestly, when it comes to it, I only respect, care about, and love people who have suffered than compared to people who either have not suffered at all or suffered very little. And that's because the people who have suffered in this world, regardless of their race or where they live in the world, are the only people that I can associate myself with, that I can connect with, that I can relate to and resonate to, and that I can understand, even if it's just to an extent, and maybe have even gone through a similar feeling or whatever. Like, those are the only people that I could ever see myself getting along with and making friends with and just having just a really good time, even just being with and spending time with. Because people who have also suffered, especially to those extreme conditions, are extremely humble and meek. Like all those African children in Africa, in the third world country, that barely have any clothes or no clothes at all, don't have running clean water to drink or to bathe or shower in, or shoes and socks, or live in a house that has a roof that doesn't leak, and don't live on mud floors, and have enough food to the point where they're not starving, and they have they have hospitals or whatever, but they don't. And also Africans who have to shave their heads, like the girls in Africa have to shave their heads because the bugs are so bad there. And it really does break my heart. Not only just thinking about it, but also seeing photos of it. Sometimes tears me up, if I'm going to be honest here. I mean, literally, no shit. Like, when I see photos, and I have seen photos before of these African children and what they go through on a daily basis, sometimes I can feel as if my heart is breaking. Obviously, it's not actually breaking, because otherwise I'd be dead, but, like, you know what I'm trying to say. And sometimes I'll tear up, or sometimes if I'm, like, out in public, like at a counseling place or therapist place that has people who go to these third world countries trying to build schools and churches and hospitals, and who try to help these children in third world countries in any way they can. And when they take pictures of it and put it inside of their counseling building or whatever, and when I see that, because I'm in the presence of other people, I'm literally trying to hold back tears, just to show how much I actually do care about them, respect them, and love them, as if I actually knew them. And, you know, when it comes to it, when it comes to me personally, obviously I'm sure that there are even people here in America who have probably had it far worse than me, much worse than me. I'm not denying that. I'm not, like, saying that's not true or not fact. But for an American, for a white guy, and I'm not saying, oh, simply because I'm white I should be privileged than compared to other races, because that's a lie. White privilege is a flat out bullshit garbage lie pushed by the far left mainstream media news outlets. And it's annoying as fuck. Because, I mean, I'm a white guy, and they're all... You know, the funny thing is about the mainstream media, I will say this, and it's kind of funny, because it honestly seems like something that would be just hilarious in a comedy movie. But the mainstream media always says that, and I mean, they always say this. It's not like they're saying, oh, only some or most. No, they say it for all of us. They say that all white people have white privilege. They say stuff like all white people are rich, all white people are spoiled, all white people are capitalists, all white people are millionaires and billionaires, and they're oppressing black people or any other minorities, whether they're Mexicans or Asians or Arabs or whatever other minorities there are in this country of America that are non-white people. And it just blows my mind because it is not true. It's such a false lie. And it's sad because it should be so obvious, yet so many black people eat that shit up and run with it. And sadly, many even other people who are not even black, but are like white liberals, Mexican liberals, Asian liberals, or whatever, who live in the Democrat-run cities, as all cities are Democrat-run, owned, and controlled, who are obviously buddy-buddy and like goody-goody with all their black friends and always trying to support them and defend them and protect them and back them up and believe whatever bullshit narrative that the black people believe and eat up. And that's just one of the many false narratives. And I mean, look at me. I am a perfect example of a white guy, born and raised here in the country of America, who has it even worse than the minorities in this country. And I'm dead ass serious. I am not even kidding. And I see it. I see all the people who have always got to live in big cities from inside of a car, and I can only help but envy them and be jealous of them and hate them. No offense, but I do. And I can't pretend like I don't hate them, or that I'm not jealous and envious of them, or that I'm not holding a grudge against them, even though they're complete and total strangers that I never met and will probably never even get the chance to meet anyways. And, you know, I just see all these privileges, all these blessings that so many of these minorities or white people have who are born and raised in big cities in this country. And it pisses me off. It frustrates me because, I mean, I'm a white guy. And I thought that, oh, I'm supposed to be privileged and spoiled and rich because that's what the liberal media is always saying, and the narrative they're always pushing out and promoting all the time nonstop. So why am I not privileged? Why am I not spoiled? Why am I not a capitalist? Why am I not crazy rich? Riddle me that. Tell me that. Tell me why I'm not the perfect example of what the liberals constantly accuse all white people of being. As if we just have it so easy and we're always walking on cloud nine and we just have it so much better than black people, Mexican people, Asian people, Brazilian people, or whoever else. Like, you could not be more far from the truth than that. I don't believe anything the mainstream news media says, and no one can convince me otherwise. And here's the thing. As a white guy who was born and raised here in America, I have had it worse than many people in this country, and even people in Canada, and in Europe, and in the UK, and Australia. Because, for example, and I've said this many times before to the point it's getting annoying, and you probably all want to strangle me to death if you had the chance, and I'm sorry. But most people in America, in Canada, in Europe, in the UK, in Australia, In any other country similar to America, like maybe China and Japan also, grew up since they were a little kid, maybe even toddler, having their very own personal gaming consoles and video games. And it's not just like, oh, they have one gaming console and one video game. No, they have multiple gaming consoles and video games, several gaming consoles, and hundreds, if not thousands, of video games. And you know what? To be honest, I probably would not care that much of kids in so many countries here in this world growing up being so spoiled and privileged in that way if they were not allowed to play M-rated video games, and if their parents weren't so careless and weren't so laid back and chill and just like not giving a damn, not giving a fuck, not giving a shred of a shit, and just totally allowing their little child, whether a boy or a girl, to play M-rated video games that have sex scenes, nudity, drug use, alcohol use, blood, gore, and profanity, and even just in general, extreme violence. I mean, it has an M rating for a reason. And what is the age rating on M-rated video games? 17 plus years old. Meaning, if everyone followed that rule and that law, it means that you have to be 17 years of age or older to play these kinds and types of video games. If kids were only allowed to play E for Everyone 10 and up video games, I honestly wouldn't care. And I would not be so jealous and envious of them. And I would not be angry at them, nor would I hate them. I literally would not care, and I would never be talking about them at all. And if they were to do the right thing, which would be, of course, wait until they're 17 before having and playing those certain specific kinds and types of video games, literally, I would not be so furious at kids who have had that experience, that unfair experience that I myself never did have. Personally. Even though I was born and raised in one of the most greatest nations, one of the most richest, spoiled, privileged nations on the face of this earth, being America. As an American, I would say I've been pretty deprived, underprivileged, oppressed, and robbed of so many things and experiences that most people get to have. Even immigrants who flood into this country, this God-forsaken, wretched country. No thanks to Democrats and immigrants who flood in and keep voting Democrat and have so many opportunities, so many things, and so many life experiences that I could only hope to ever have myself, but I don't. And that is why I hate most people. That is why I envy most people. And I'm jealous of most people, and I'm angry at them too. And that might be any of you watching this video. And I wish you understood that about me, to the point where you would say, yeah, I have been pretty spoiled. I have been privileged. I mean, after all, he's right. We are born and raised in big cities, flooding with opportunities, flooding with diversity. And we do grow up as kids being able to get and have our very own gaming consoles and video games, and on top of that are allowed to play M-rated video games. because our parents aren't strict and they allow more things for us to do than strict parents or parents who are Christians or whatever don't allow themselves for their kids. And I wish people would think to themselves long and hard and deep about that for a minute and think, I don't blame you for being jealous and envious of me. I don't blame you for being angry at me, nor do I blame you for hating me, because I understand. I can't say that I maybe agree with you on that, or that I relate to you or resonate with you, but I understand why you feel that way. And hell, if I was probably as deprived and underprivileged as you were growing up, I probably would feel the same way. But of course, none of you would know that because you've never known what it feels like to grow up poor, to grow up deprived, to grow up underprivileged, to grow up robbed of so many experiences and things that most people get to experience, unlike me. And same thing when it comes to teenagers or people who get jobs when they're teenagers or in their teens, and they're able to buy themselves anything they want or need. And of course, when it at least comes to teen guys, one of the things that they buy for themselves is gaming computers. And if it's an expensive, high-end, top-of-the-line brand gaming computer, regardless of however long it took you to save up for it, but if you got it in your teens, whether at 14, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, any time at all in your teens that you got a really expensive, super nice, super overpowered, super high-end and top-of-the-line gaming computer, whether a gaming desktop or a gaming laptop, or maybe in some cases both even, I hate you, I envy you, I'm jealous of you, and I'm angry at you. And I just really have it in for people like you. And I wish people watching my videos, listening to what I have to say over and over and over again, and listening to my content, I wish people would at least say and think to themselves, he's right. I am spoiled, or we are spoiled. We are privileged. We have had so many more privileges and opportunities and life experiences than this guy himself has ever had. And it pisses me off when so many people who come on my channel who have been spoiled in that way, who have been privileged, who have had so many opportunities in the big city they lived in and got the privilege of even living in, and had so many just amazing, incredible, awesome, outstanding life experiences in their lives personally compared to mine, and yet they can't even admit or fess up to the fact that they have been spoiled. They have been privileged. They have had it easy growing up. They have had it so soft and cushioned. They have just had it so nice and heavenly. They practically grew up in paradise, living on cloud nine. They grew up with a silver spoon in their mouth. They've been dealt the good hand of life than compared to me. And also, another thing that most people are more privileged and spoiled than me of being able to experience is the fact that most people, obviously not all, but most, have boyfriends and girlfriends in their teens. Some people even when they're just little kids. And they have tons of sex and intercourse throughout their teens. And you know what? In a way, I think that is a good thing because of the amount of sex they have in their teens, which is the most time in anyone's life where your hormones are the most extreme and just raging all the time. The more you have it, the more calm and more peaceful you become. And so you're not a horny maniac running around and going on the internet like scaring, like if you're a guy, for example, and you're a virgin, and there are obviously many virgin guys online, and I can't say I blame them because after all, I also am a virgin. I'm a 23, almost 24-year-old virgin, so I know how it feels. I know exactly what it's like to be a guy running around the internet, going to hot girls' YouTube channels or hot girls' social media accounts and creeping them out by asking them really juicy sexual things that freak them out and make them block guys like me and like them, and or sometimes even delete their YouTube channel or delete their social media account because of how many just thirsty guys come to their YouTube channel or come to their social media accounts. And, you know, in a way, I feel bad for these girls who get that a lot, but at the same time, they don't know what it's like to be a guy who's still a virgin, who never lost his virginity, who never had that chance, that opportunity, or that experience in his teens, unlike so many other people got to have and experience themselves. And, you know, I see so many guys online on social media and YouTube who, when it ever comes to any amount of creepy guys, they're always telling off the creepy guys and trying to, like, shoo them away or make them leave the girl's YouTube channel or the girl's social media account, because those guys probably had tons of sex in their teens, maybe even some in their childhood, and that's why they're not raging and crazy and thirsty for women and their attention and just hungry for sex, pretty much, because of how horny they are. And it only gets worse for a guy who's a virgin still in his 20s and 30s. It only gets worse for him to try to deal with being so sex craved or sex deprived or whatever. And I mean, I do kind of wish women understood that about men who are virgins before just blocking them or being freaked out at them, but try at least to understand why there are creepy guys like that. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's not a good idea. And what do I know? I'm just trying to make guesses here of things that I think may or may not be a good idea. But I'm just saying, from my own personal experience, I wish that girls would understand that. Not just about me, but about other guys. And honestly, as a guy, I've not really been that creepy compared to other guys. Like what I've seen other guys say and what I've seen other guys do to try to get with any of these women on YouTube or social media. I mean, sometimes I'm kind of like, man, that is way too extreme. Like when it comes to guys just randomly sending women dick pics, I've never done that. I would never just randomly, for no apparent reason, to a bunch of women send them dick pics. That is just so disrespectful not just to her, but to yourself. And it's degrading, and it just shows how low and pathetic you are as a guy. It really does. I'm sorry to say, but it does. And I don't agree with that. I think it's really sad and disgusting that women who don't even ask for it, just randomly, if they have any social media account, Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, get just random dick pics from guys, like over and over and over. I wouldn't even be surprised if some guys even send pictures of their ass to women, trying to, like, I don't know, play with them or something. I don't know what you would call that. And it's just nasty. That's nasty. And that definitely needs to stop. But I mean, what I'm talking about is just simply creepy guys who say creepy things to a girl. Like, let's say a girl who's really attractive and good looking has a YouTube channel where she makes a lot of burping videos. And to obviously many girls, like, they can burp on command. And they're really good at it or whatever. But to many guys, not all guys and not most, but still to quite a bit of them, they have a very strong extreme fetish for girls burping, just like I do, or girls farting or whatever. And when a girl makes those kinds of videos, usually she's doing that to just be funny or whatever. Not really because she's trying to get any sort of sexual attention or whatever. And then there will be tons of weird, creepy, predator-like guys who will say some really inappropriate, really juicy sexual things to girls who post burping videos or farting videos to YouTube or anywhere. And honestly, sometimes I do think it's the girl's fault, because if you're a really good-looking, attractive girl and you're really good at burping on command or farting or whatever, and you post videos to YouTube like that, or Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter or wherever, Facebook, and you're not expecting any guys to be turned on by that, I mean, by now, all girls should know that. And if they don't really want weird, creepy, predator-like guys who have such a strong, extreme, severe, intense fetish to those types of things, to send them weird, creepy messages or whatever in the comment section or on their Facebook page or Instagram posts or wherever, then they should just not do that. They should just stop doing that. If they don't want that kind of attention, because clearly and obviously it doesn't look like it to me, so they shouldn't do it. I mean, really. I mean, for the sake of their own selves, they should just not do that at all, period. And, you know, another thing also that most people get to experience, unlike me, is diversity. Because, let's face it, and it's a very obvious and clear fact that most people live in the big cities. In every single state you go to, anywhere in America, or in the UK, Europe, Australia, China, Japan, wherever, but there's not really that much diversity in China or Japan. I mean, there's some, but not much, but definitely in America and in the UK and in Europe or whatever, and maybe a little bit in Australia, people who live in big cities who have got to be born and raised in them, or at least raised in them, if not born and raised maybe since their childhood or early teenagehood at the latest, got to experience a very broad amount of diversity. Because, I mean, that's what big cities are. Literally, they are full. They're literally like overflowing with diversity. with people from all these different races and cultures and backgrounds from all over the world, all living in one specific city, all together like a big mixing pot. And you know what? I can't help but envy and be jealous of white people who have got to have and make friends with and experience black friends, Mexican friends, Asian friends, Native American friends, Indian American friends, and so on and so forth. Because it's just unfair to someone like me who never got to experience that myself personally. And the fact that I'm 23, almost 24, and I still haven't experienced that yet, breaks my heart. I mean, it literally breaks my heart. It crushes me. It makes me feel like I've been robbed of something very cool of it being able to experience like most people. And like I've been excluded and left out and deprived and underprivileged of ever experiencing that. So I wish people would understand that. I wish people would understand why I'm so full of hatred for people who got to experience diversity, and why I envy them, why I'm so jealous of them, and why I am angry at them, all of them, not just some of them or a little bit of them, all of them, anyone and everyone who has gotten to experience diversity because of living in big cities, going to inner city schools ever since elementary school. I hate, I'm angry at, I envy, and I'm jealous of. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say that most people, not everyone, but most people have been way more spoiled and privileged than I have ever been in my entire life. In the entire 23, almost 24 years that I have been alive, I have not had as much. I've not experienced as much. I've never got to go to as many places as much as most people have. I haven't even explored that much of the United States of America. I've never been to Mexico. I've never been to South America. I've never been to the UK. I've never been to Europe or any other country other than America. I've never had that opportunity, never had that chance, never had that experience, never had that privilege, and was never spoiled in that way. And that is why I feel not only that I've been very deprived, very underprivileged, very left out, very excluded, very oppressed, and just very robbed of so many things that most people got to have growing up, so many experiences, being able to do so many things more than me, having way more opportunities than compared to me, and way more things going for them in their lives than compared to me. And I mean, go ahead and laugh, but I feel like an honest to God victim compared to most people. And believe me when I say, if I could, I would totally trade the lives with people that have had it way better than me. If I could, I would do it in a heartbeat. I would do it in the blink of an eye. I would do it in a split second if I had the power and ability to switch lives with any of these people I'm talking about, or even any of you guys watching this, maybe. I would. I absolutely would. Like, I mean, a lot of times I just wish I had your guys' lives and most people's. And I'm not saying like you guys haven't suffered or had it hard in whatever ways you have. And I'm not trying to act as if you didn't, but I'm just trying to make the point that in many ways, more than me, you've been more spoiled, more privileged, you've had more opportunities, you've had more life experiences, you've just got to do much more than I have ever got to do myself in my life. And you know, If I would have had gaming consoles growing up as a little kid, even if I would not have been able to play M-rated video games, I would have been happy. And I would not hate anyone. I would not envy anyone or be jealous of anyone. And if I got to be born and raised in a big city, I would not hate anyone who does, or be envious or jealous or angry at them, or people who have experienced diversity. And if I was able to have sex in my teens, well, get married and have sex in my teens, I wouldn't be angry at people who have sex in their teens, or envious or jealous or angry at them. And I wouldn't, if I were able to get a job in my teens and buy myself a gaming computer, I wouldn't be jealous and envious and angry and hate people who are able to get gaming computers in their teens. I would be friends with them. I would love them. I would care about them. I would respect them if I had as good of a life as most other people, but I don't. And that is why I'm not. And I wish you guys understood that, but sadly, it doesn't look like you do and never will.